Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Adam Franchella, and I am Augie's Chief Product Officer. But more importantly, I am dad to an 11-month-old boy named Bo, and I'm going to be the host for today's discussion about smart snacking and kids' wellness. Before we dive in, just a few housekeeping items. As a heads up, today's event is being recorded. It will also be accessible shortly after the event at Auggie.com or from the Auggie mobile app. So if you have to jump off at any point in time and want to kind of see what you missed, not to fear, that will be on both those platforms for you to watch later on. Additionally, we'd love to make this event pretty conversational. So throughout the event, please feel free to drop any questions into the Zoom chat. And alongside my panelists and myself, we'll do our best to get them answered throughout the duration of the event. And then other than that, just an introduction of Auggie. For those of you who are new to Auggie, we are a trusted community platform for parents to find vetted providers and experts, learn from experts, and also share recommendations with one another. So after the event, don't forget to download the application and check out all that our wonderful community has to offer. And today we're very glad that you're here to talk about smart snacking. And where we're going to be discussing things like how to decode confusing food labels, ingredient standards, and navigating food allergies and food sensitivities in our kids. So without further ado, I'm extremely excited to welcome and introduce our wonderful panelists for today's discussion. We have with us Jared Lichtman, holistic nutritionist and founder of TinyNoms, Marshall Rader, co-founder of the Gluten-Free Bar, and Kyle Costa, founder of Kinnie, a snack brand focused on kid-friendly wellness. And gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you guys just to introduce yourselves a bit further. Marshall, if you want to get started, I'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah, I'll keep it fairly quick. So I started the GFB, which is originally the gluten-free bar, has evolved to just be the GFB because we make more products than bars. Our most popular thing on the market is our bites, so protein bites in a pouch. We've been doing this for about 15 years. And we make and produce everything in our facility here in Michigan that I'm in. And we are also a certified B Corp. A couple of big things we do underneath that umbrella are that we run a zero waste facility that's powered by wind and solar. And also for probably about 10 years now, we've been focused on building our production team through folks that have challenges gaining employment, could be different backgrounds, potentially non-violent criminal background, just kind of that second chance program. And we did launch a product about 2 years ago, more focused on kids, so which are a little bit smaller bites that are nut-free, trying to keep it to good, simple ingredients with a decent amount of protein.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks, Marshall. Jared, coming over to you next.
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur who my wife and I started a baby clothing company about 3.5 years ago. And last year, my kids only eat snacks. That's all they eat. No matter what I cook, no matter what I do, they will not eat food I make. They just want chips or bars or pouches or whatever. So I was like, I can't be the only parent dealing with this situation. So I came up with the idea for TinyNoms where only very clean, very high quality products are allowed in. And it's a marketplace for parents where they can come and shop with confidence, knowing that we're offering them the best products possible. So kind of taking away that concern of having to really dive into every ingredient list and worry about what's in the product. We have allergen safe filters. So we made it very simple for parents to find the cleanest packaged goods possible for their little ones to help them thrive and to save time in the stores or checking ingredient lists. And both Kinnie and GFB are on our website because they make great products.
Love it. That's great to hear. And last but not least, Kyle, coming to
Yeah,
you.
thanks, guys. So I'm Kyle Costa. I started Kinnie. Started working on it probably 2 years ago. I've been kind of an e-commerce Amazon person my whole life, but I've also been super into supplements. Someone close to my family has been doing supplements and is very, very health conscious. And so as a parent now actually of two kids, similar to kind of Jared, there's a lot of either snacking or just not being super interested into the broccolis and some of the cleaner like items. And so with that, we wanted to kind of create like, or at least fill the gap. Like we're not here to replace Whole Foods or good products like Marshall creates. It's really to like fill gaps and just make sure if kid has a bad day eating, or maybe isn't feeling well, like we can supplement through our vitamins, which are in stick packs. They're powdered, natural ingredients, natural calming products, like depending on the SKU, but I'll kick it back and we can probably go into more detail into some of the products
Yeah,
during our chat.
I'm sure that we will. Awesome. Well, let's dive in, fellas. So my first question I have, and this will probably go in a number of different directions, which will be great, is what really defines a healthy snack? And Jared, I'll maybe start with you, and feel free to take that where you will. How parents should be evaluating product labels, like what's your definition of a healthy snack?
Yeah. The fewer ingredients, the better. And also looking at what are those ingredients, right? If you start seeing things that you don't know how to produce or you need to Google what they are, it's probably trending towards less healthy. Now they are getting tricky with what they can name products and what they'll do. Like I saw they were starting to name, thank goodness they're finally getting eliminated from our food supply in the next year or two, but they were starting to name food dyes like bright sunshine, like names that shouldn't exist for artificial ingredients. But typically if it's a product, like for example, if it's a potato chip, you want to make sure it's using a quality oil, right? Oils are very important. You want to make sure it's doesn't have like 30 ingredients. Like a potato chip, a clean, healthy, basic potato chip is going to be 3 or 4 ingredients. You're going to have the potato. You're going to have salt of some kind, and you're going to have an oil. Like once you get beyond a bunch more ingredients, it's not necessary. Now you can have a lot of ingredients and they're still healthy. So it's just looking at it and seeing like what is in it and do these ingredients make sense to me? Like are they real words? Are they real products? To me, that's how you can tell that something is healthy.
Yeah, so kind of a common sense approach to it. Kyle, Marshall, I'm sure you guys have tons to add. I'll let you guys dive in.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when I'm looking at the ingredient list, I think the biggest piece that people kind of tend to forget or don't look deep enough into is like the other ingredients and just paying attention to those. Because like after we look at the actual nutrition label and understand like what is my kid getting, like the core, look next into others. And then based on how they're stacked, right? Like the top one is going to be the most. Obviously, we don't get really numbers, which I think can make it hard on a parent because like you see the ingredient or maybe it's like a certain sweetener or something in there you don't know exactly, but I'm always looking at that to make sure that there's not something that I don't want my kid having towards the top. Like usually we're in a grocery store running, I'm not doing it online like before. And so it's kind of those quick scans and checks that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I sort of the same thoughts here with both of you guys in terms of ingredients and simple ingredients, and that's how we formulate our products too. Like if it's our peanut butter is peanuts, that's it. Our almond butter is just almonds. So when you start to see ingredient labels that have parentheticals, peanuts, peanut butter, it's parentheses, peanuts, comma, dextrose, comma, some oil, you're like, okay, that's cheap processed peanut butter. I want to stay away from that when I can.
And to piggyback on Marshall, just talking about peanut butter, it's funny. I shop in Whole Foods a lot, and they have now, and this blows me away. They have one peanut butter, and the rest is all peanut spread.
Yeah,
it's gonna have the oil. It's gonna have added sugar. It has all these extra added ingredients. So trying to find the things that the lower number of products on the ingredient list, the better. That to me, that's the easiest way to find a healthy snack.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're already starting to dive into this, but let's talk about maybe even get a little bit more specific about ingredients. Are there specific ingredients that you guys are trying to exclude at all costs? Or are there, on the other side of that coin, are there misunderstood ingredients that are, wrongly feared and, people avoid that maybe isn't as important to avoid. So like, let's just talk about those for now. Like, on the negative side of things, what ingredients in your lives as parents or just in general in terms of recommendations do you really tend to avoid?
Yeah, I'm happy to start. Things that I avoid personally for the family, I try to avoid as much as possible seed oils wherever I can, just because, and there's still no definitive thing, like looking at ingredients, it's funny, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but you'll see how something will get lauded as super like, eat this is the new ingredient that is very healthy and very clean, and then 3 years later it's like, wait, don't eat this is really bad for you. And it's like, well, you just told me this was good not so long ago. So things change. Like eggs went from the best thing you could eat to the worst, now they're the best. Coconut oil was the best thing ever, and then it was bad, now it's so it's like these things just move and change so frequently. So but typically if it's artificial, I don't think it's good for you. If it's words you can't pronounce, again, like, now there are examples, and it's hard to dive into specific examples of what those are, but there's some things that you're going to be like, I don't know what this is, but it's actually good for you. It could be a vitamin, or it could be something that's added for a specific reason, and it is good.
Probiotics or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I try to avoid added sugars as much as possible. I know sometimes it's unavoidable, especially if it's a sweeter product, but I try to limit added sugar. I try to limit seed oils. What else? Gums. Really, just if something's not clean and natural, I try to avoid it wherever possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And sort of same, personally, kind of the same thing. Of course, I still, I have a soft spot for chips. So, I try to eat chips that are just potatoes and salt and oil. But, that from like our phone relation standpoint, we don't really have like a hard and fast rule, but it's kind of like if it's not made, if it's highly processed or it's not made for the body to naturally digest it, so like sugar alcohols, it's like, okay, a protein bar is 20 grams of carbs, but hey, don't worry, 14 grams of those are sugar alcohols, and your body can't process that. So you don't need to worry about that. I'm actually like, well, wait, hold on. So we highly process something that our body can't handle. So then that's good, um, and that's sort of like, I think where we kind of overcomplicate some of these things. Like, you know, um, to get those extra 6 grams of protein, I'm gonna have 14 grams of sugar alcohol so that my macros are where I want them. And it's really like it, but your body's not getting real food. So to your point, it's like if you can't understand it, or like when we formulate products, it's like if you can, you should be able to go to the store and make a GFB bar or GFB bite just by going to the store. If you want to take the time to do it, the ingredients are all on the shelf.
Right.
If it's like, oh, we've got to go to some like place and buy artificial colors and preservatives and this kind of stuff, then it's just not going to be in our products.
That's super cool. With Kinnie and how we kind of think about it with the kids on our end, like when I was looking into it, because my background is not in vitamins, I had to kind of learn it myself through self-education, working with people I knew, and then, hiring a team that knew what they were doing. But when we were like looking into the kind of Kinnie piece of it, it's like, all right, let's find the strictest retailers out there and see, number one, what are they avoiding? And like, what will they not allow on site? Like, that was kind of my cheat code. It's like, all right, let's find like the Whole Foods, the PCC, what do they not want? And then I think, to like, honestly, both your guys' points here, those new like sugar alcohols that they're coming out with, like, I'm not willing to test anything new in my products or with my kids, right? If there's a new ingredient or a new sugar, it's not something I really am willing to test, because like Jared said, it could be the best thing, healthiest thing right now, and in 2 years it could come back that it's actually really, really bad for you. So I think when I'm looking at stuff beyond just kind of what to avoid, like you were asking there, Adam, I think it's all about finding stuff that has been proven and has been used in foods and have, been healthy for a certain amount of time. It's just not worth the risk to try new stuff, especially with growing kids, and already so many different factors in their life.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I'll piggyback one other thing. I think it's kind of like the common sense test, right? Like, is this an ingredient that's existed for a long time? And by a long time, I don't mean like a couple of years. Like, has this been around since, like the 1800s? Like, is this something that's been used for decades, for centuries? If so, it's probably healthy. It's withstood the test of time. It's safe to put in your body. And kind of also what Marshall said, if most products we carry are things that can be made by going to the grocery store. I know a supplement is going to be a little harder because that's a lot of powders and vitamins and stuff, and that's hard to make. But like a food product, if you can go and make it yourself, great. Then that's a good product. If it's something that needs to be made in a lab somewhere, probably not a great food product to eat regularly, right? So that's another good way to look at it.
And so you guys have all referenced the grocery store. And I think in a lot of ways, the grocery store just becomes a minefield for parents. And what I've always been told is kind of shop the perimeter, right? Which is generally, I think, the main.
But our stuff's not there. Our stuff's in the middle. So only buy Kinnie and GFB when you're in the middle, but
Right.
generally go on the outside.
Right.
Marshall's like, that's where my new placement is.
Yeah.
But so talk to me, guys, about
Yeah.
the grocery store. Like, if you guys are all parents, and when you're navigating the grocery store, talk about how you guys navigate it to avoid some of the things that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that rule, despite the fact that our stuff is in the middle, there is some good stuff in the middle. There's some quality products in the middle. But yeah, I think if you spend 80% of your time on the outside with the fresh stuff, that's where it should be. And then, I don't want to be a broken record, but it is kind of this stuff of like, keep it simple. If the ingredient list is super long, and I know things, I forget sometimes that like, I was always interested in this stuff, and we're all in this world. So like we are like, oh yeah, I read the nutrition label, I get it. But from a busy parent who's an accountant somewhere who's just like trying to decode some stuff, I think that could be a discussion point. I'm just trying to think out loud of like what are the things you look for when you see a label and it's 4 or 5 lines long. It's like you should be immediately back on the shelf. But yeah, there's probably, and I'm just thinking of this now, like some simple rules of thumb of, it's ingredient list. I think, things where we talk about like protein enriched products. I think, not all proteins are equal, but again, you're getting to the weeds a little bit. So maybe we can come back to that one, just trying to think of some ways for regular folks who are not in this world every day to sort of screen these myriad of products that is like low quality protein, but just trying to say, hey, it's 15 grams of protein, you should eat this. And it's like, again, probably not the right thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, with me when I'm walking the store, there's definitely strategy involved. I mean, I've got a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and so the middle where all the fun stuff is usually where I get caught up. So if I'm with the kids, there's definitely some strategy to my walking where I will stay perimeter and through only the aisles that I absolutely need. But I do love the comment about going in and kind of making your own thing. I think if you have the time, which a lot of us don't, the best option is to go in and make a bunch of snack breakfast burritos and freeze them and leverage a garage freezer if you have the ability to stuff up on snacks and make in bulk and all that fun stuff. But if you don't have the time, I know everyone's busy with kids and running around with sports, and if you don't, I think when you're at the store, we've all kind of said it a bunch of times, it's the ingredient list. I mean, it's also finding out what you're trying to achieve. Every kid in each stage needs a different amount of certain kind of core vitamins. And so and also there's situations too where kids are either like just have, not an illness, but some sort of like deficiency in certain vitamins. And so there's also that when you go to the store, try and find things that are hitting on those core pieces. And so for me right now, like with 2 growing boys, I'm trying to find protein, searching for protein, any way to get protein in there. And we love our protein macaroni, throwing an extra egg in there, like all those fun things. There's all these new fun brands that are like doing really, really good, taking away from like these huge junk products that I think we all probably ate our entire lives. Now our kids get like healthy protein max. So that's it's kind of what I'm doing in there. I think the strategy through the aisles is the best takeaway for everyone with kids.
Yeah, I put together a list as a couple things, but to me, it's Kyle and Marshall have kind of already nailed it. It's common sense when you're going up and down the aisles, and I'll do that myself. I'll go up and down through the whole grocery store. Spend the most time on the perimeter, always. A lot of fruits, vegetables. If you can get your kids to eat vegetables, wow, you're amazing. I certainly can't, no matter what I do. It's getting to the point where I might have to just start like jamming it in their mouth. But they won't eat it. But fruit, they love fruit, so great. Okay, they're getting some fiber there. There's a little bit of protein in fruit, not much, but trace amounts. So at least there's something. Pouches, healthy pouches that they'll eat that has protein in it. My older son has started to eat like little protein bars, like little kid size ones. So that's good. But yeah, like common sense for going up and down, especially for what Marshall was saying, busy parents, people that are, working long hours. And then it's like, oh, shoot, I got to go deal with, I got to go grocery shop for the kids. I got to go get this. I got to go get that. So it's like, one, start with the ingredient list, give it a quick scan. Is this something, do I understand the ingredients in here, or do I need to go Google half of these? If you got to Google a bunch of them, there's a problem. Check the sugars. If it's a ton of added sugar, not ideal. So obviously you want to stay on the lower side for sugar. Obviously make sure that you're getting real sugar. If you are getting sugar, you don't want artificial sugars, artificial stuff. You don't want fructose, corn syrup, sucrose. Avoid the talls wherever possible. Maltitol, xylitol, I forget what the other ones are. Fiber and protein are huge. So get your fiber, get your protein. Fiber is really good just to help them keep them regular. That's a great healthy carb. Sodium, I'm not too worried about sodium, but you can always look at sodium. And again, salt is its own entire conversation on what's a good salt, what's a bad salt. But I don't think you can have too much good salt. You can have way too much bad salt. The front of the pack marketing, like these big companies are spending millions of dollars just perfecting what's on the front of the packaging to get the parent to buy it, to get the kid to eat it. So don't read too much into the front of the pack marketing, because do your own due diligence, look at the ingredients, dive into it a little more. Serving sizes are great. If your kid is eating too much, they're obviously going to gain weight. If you want to, so serving sizes are important. And then the ultra processed stuff, I say avoid that wherever possible, whenever. And then the 80-20 rule, if you're eating 80%, or if the kids are eating 80% quality, healthy stuff, let them have some unhealthy stuff here and there. You don't have to be 100% strict, but those are, to me, are some good guidelines to follow for parents.
Love
and
that.
for kids,
Yeah,
and
that
just
was
for everybody generally. I mean, those are all just general
Yeah.
health tips.
Love that. Yeah, it's helpful, Jerry. We talked a lot about things to avoid, but you nicely pivoted to also make sure that these are things that you should do as well. But so I'll pivot a little bit now to talk about supplements. It's come up a couple of times, obviously. Kyle, I'm sure it's going to be a topic we're going to love to hear from you about. But how do you guys approach supplements, right? And when do kids actually need supplements? What do they need? What should we be looking specifically out of a supplement for kids? And Kyle, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So I think with supplements, like, kids, if kids are eating, like Jared said, if kids are eating like super well and they're eating vegetables, like they may honestly not need a supplement. Like, could it help to make sure they are getting their full daily value? For sure. Like, it may not be a necessity. I think where like we kind of, when we started thinking about these vitamins, like what drove me to really do this was I started getting really, really upset with the gummy industry. It's marketed so well. It's marketed as an easy, solution for kids and parents. It's like the no fuss. It's like candy. It like candifies it, and then of course they're gonna overconsume, and they honestly need to overconsume because like a gummy is just binding agents, pectin, sugars. and there's very, very little amounts of actual vitamin in there. Like when you look at the label, it's kind of laughable how much you'd have to eat, like a quarter of the bottle for it to actually impact you. So I was getting a little frustrated with that. And we're also loving our like Mary Roos and all the good kind of ones, like the actually good ones that we see out there. But it just wasn't portable. So like I just was thinking, one, we can make it portable with the dry powder. Um, and we can make it great for absorbing because it's going to be in a liquid, which we like, not in like a chewable format. And so then we created just like these stick packs, but then we started identifying like, all right, what do we need help with as these parents? Everyone's kids going to school, they're getting sick. Parents are getting sick, babies getting sick, like everyone's getting sick. So first was immunity. That's like the one that we really wanted to help with, make it an easy immune drink for these kids when they're going to school, they're going to playground, all of that. We added in hydration, so like potassium and salt into the immunity one because like, my son loves riding his bike at the bike park. We do all this. And then we have our calm product because we travel a lot. Everyone's probably taking their kid on a plane, and the whole Benadryl thing doesn't really work, I don't think, anymore for most parents. I knew that was what my parents probably did, but not really a thing I'm willing to do with mine right now. And so we made a natural calming product. And so it's all kind of shaped around like what we needed, a solution for us, because we knew we weren't the only parents to be dealing with the school sickness and all that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like I said at the beginning, it's if your kid's doing very, very well, is very healthy, eating well, you don't need to like over supplement stuff. You know, people kind of get scared into thinking their kids need all these things. And like Marshall, you're saying, just like complicates everything, like complicates life, the kitchen cabinet, like everything starts to get complicated. Like doesn't need to always be that complicated.
Yeah, if you're taking a vitamin, it doesn't need to be every day. It could be 4 days a week. You know, you don't mean if you forget 3 days, it's not like your life is ruined. It's just like the day you're at school or you're eating bad, that's when you have your vitamin. If you don't need it the next day, that's okay. It still might be a product for you.
Yeah.
It's not a commitment forever, you know.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Marshall, Jared, anything to add in general about supplements or how you guys approach them with your kids or just recommendations?
Yeah. We do a blend. Like again, I have very picky kids. I know a lot of kids are picky, but mine are just tough. I've tried flavored stuff in the water thinking like this is going to be a home run. It's not their thing. It's crazy. And then but they love like Kyle said, they love Mary Ruth. They do the droppers. And I've tasted a few of them. Like, are these good? Because they like freak out when they're like so excited. They're terrible. I'm like, wow, these are really, really gross. And so I'm like, their taste buds are just like, I now it all makes sense.
Right.
But I've tried. They eat the Grun's little gummy bears. I know, Kyle. I know they're not the best, but they eat them, so I give it to them. You know, they eat they'll have the Mary Ruth's vitamin dropper, so I'll do that. I'm gonna keep pushing because I have some of your product. I'm gonna keep pushing. Eventually, they'll start drinking them because they do taste good, and the ingredients are great. So at some point, they'll start enjoying them. But it's yeah, it's tough because the supplement industry is a very slippery slope in general. There's a lot of brands. A lot like one thing I would say is do not buy random supplements on Amazon because half the time what's in them isn't even what you think you're getting. And so definitely buy from brands that you've done research on and trust and have been around for a while and aren't some random like name. You can tell when a brand has really created a quality product based on just the attention to detail, the quality of the ingredients, and typically, and this applies to food. This really applies to anything in life. Something good isn't going to be cheap. You know, like you're not going to go buy the best of the best and spend the lowest amount of money. It's just not how our society works. So certain things to me are worth spending more money on. Vitamins, definitely, your food, what you put in your body. You know, it's an investment in yourself, in your health, in long term. It's like it's something that you're not going to get immediate results on most of the time, but 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're gonna be happy that you spent that extra money and weren't eating like McDonald's every day, you know? So, what you put in, and that applies to your supplements, your vitamins. So to me, that's really important. There's no one thing to look at on a vitamin list. I will say just, and this is going off a tangent, but the to me, the things that are most important to take every day, get a good omega, a good multivitamin, vitamin D, and a B complex. Those to me are the essentials that you need. Other than that, other stuff you take is great, but those are, as a, from a nutrition standpoint, those are mainly essentials, and the vitamin D to me is the biggest one, because so many of us are vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, I mean,
just
real
for
quick, yeah, I mean, outside of the, what you said, I mean, the multivitamins, you know this better than I do, but yeah, vitamin D, maybe omegas, but like, we've probably all been in that world where we've seen it on Instagram, we've heard it on 19 podcasts. You're like, dude, I got to get into the creatine. It's awesome. Has anyone ever actually taken something like a creatine or whatever else, whatever supplement to boost testosterone, to make you calm, and like ashwagandha, and you're like, oh man, it's been 30 days of taking this, and I do feel more calm. Like, I don't know anyone that's ever happened to. You buy this stuff, oh, it's $40 a bottle, but after 30 days of the loading phase, I'll definitely feel different. And then $40 and a month later, you're like, yeah, that made no difference. But unfortunately, it's more like $100 in like 3 months later.
Yeah.
So I think outside of that core stuff that you guys talked about, the multis and the omegas and vitamin D, it's all kind of like, unless you are already doing 99% of the things that you should be doing, getting some, like working out, eating good 80% of the time, these supplements mean nothing for 99% of us. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
It can't fix the rest of the
doesn't
90,
fix anything. Yeah, right,
90 something percent. So, but I was just gonna make a comment. I think, like, when it comes to providing like supplements, and exactly like Jared said, like, for buying supplements, it is open. Like, it is so open for people to create anything they absolutely want. And so it definitely is, like, beyond looking at the ingredients and finding the supplements that you need, like making sure that it's actually a legit business and they have certifications for manufacturing, because the amount of horror stories that I've heard from the supplement space, and me being in this kind of Amazon ecosystem for so long. I mean, there was a creatine brand on Amazon that got pulled. They had like 1% of the actual amount that they stated. Well, that's probably better than being like 100 times more. Like, that's still, you're not getting what they're actually telling you. And sometimes there's cross contamination with stuff. Like, you got to make sure you're buying from a legit source. And exactly like Jared said, like, it's usually not going to be the cheapest. So like when you see that like $10 bottle of creatine gummies on Amazon, probably not a great product.
Not gonna do much.
So like, yeah, beyond the actual core, like finding and making sure it's a legit company.
Yeah. Well, let's conclude with our last question from all you guys on a slightly more positive note, right? We've been talking a lot about like what to avoid, which is great. I mean, honestly, that's like half the battle, I think, oftentimes. But from all you guys, would love to hear, a personal snack win, or like a parenting food hack that you guys have done in your lives, or any tip or trick that has been you've seen be successful in people or yourselves. I'd love to hear from you guys.
I've got two wins for the people here. One, absolute amazing breakfast hack. All it is banana and egg. You can throw a little cinnamon on there too.
I've seen that.
You fry it up like a normal pancake. I thought it was going to be the grossest thing ever, but I was feeding it to my kid and he was eating it like crazy. And one day he left some on the table. So when I got back from dropping him off from school, I was like, oh, I'm gonna snack on this. I didn't eat breakfast yet. And it is fantastic. Like,
all right,
it is amazing. I might have a slight advantage because we have like 14 chickens. So they are very, very fresh eggs too we're making it with. Which is also a hack. If you eat a lot of eggs, get yourself some chickens in the backyard. The second one is, I'm totally spacing on the name, but it's one of the, I mean, I honestly like them all. It's one of the protein macaroni brands. Really fun branding. It's like the bubbly letters. I'm totally spacing on the name, but they make this high protein, brutal. Yeah. So we've been loving that. He will absolutely destroy any box that they make. And then we normally throw an extra egg in at the last bit. So get another, egg, some extra protein, some of those good vitamins from those chicken eggs, and mix it up, and he doesn't even notice. It actually makes it creamier, and he's actually enjoyed it more. So those are my two easy ones, both the round eggs.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I got a couple as well. I mean, my kids are a little older than that. They're 8 and 10, so they're going to school, and I pack lunches, and this is not that great of a one, but instead of buying the we used to do peanut butter crackers, and then we used to make them ourselves, but I'm still using like club crackers, which are just, nothing good in there. So I just give them now peanut butter I take peanut butter out of the jar, put it in a thing, and just give them a spoon. Like, just eat the peanut butter by itself. It's what you want anyway. And if you buy the peanut butter crackers, it's the cheap peanut butter with added ingredients, and it's crappy crackers. And so we just skip that. And then on the breakfast side, it's a small win, but they like the pre-made pancakes that are, like, again, like probably the worst ingredients. So if I do make them at home, which I try to do, and freeze them, I'll at least use it'll be like half regular flour, and then like half, and then a quarter almond and a quarter buckwheat, and then put more milk and eggs in there to fortify it a little bit with some natural stuff and more protein. And they don't seem to really notice, as long as I make them decent. That seems to work pretty well for at-home breakfast that you can make and freeze it for an entire week. I think, and then of course, shameless plug, but yeah, our bites will usually work for a tide over, either a dessert in their lunch, but still has 5 grams of protein in it, or at night when they want chocolate, and I can give them a couple chocolate peanut butter bites. That works half the time. Other times I lose out to the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Love it. Jared.
I wish I had some amazing wins for my kids, but again, they are tough little ones. My boy is about to be 4, and our daughter is 2.5, and then our youngest son is 2 months, so he's just, he's not in the discussion for food. But with the 4-year-old, it's been really hard. Like, I'll be like, dude, just eat it. Like, I've made him eggs, he won't even touch them. I'm like, dude, it's like, these are quality eggs from a local farm. Like, why are you not eating this? I'll definitely try, Kyle, what you mentioned. The one thing they'll eat, which is weird, we're mainly plant-based, so we don't really eat meat. They eat a lot of tofu with soy sauce on it. It's like one of the few things that they'll actually eat. So to me, that's a win. Our daughter's a little more adventurous. She'll have some pasta. We usually do, we found this brand, I forget the name of it, but it's a sourdough pasta. And I'm all about fermented foods. The more fermented foods you can eat, the better, because it's just that gut health is so important. So I make my own kimchi. They're not going to eat that, but to me, gut health is vastly underrated and under talked about. So the sourdough pasta, that's got a little bit of fermentation to it. I don't know if, and I haven't dug into this, I don't know if when you cook it, if the fermentation kind of leaves it while it's boiling. I don't know, but yeah, it's just, when it is a packaged product, which is basically like a healthier potato chip, healthier snacks, healthier bars. It's just trying to be as healthy as possible, which kind of goes back to the whole premise of TinyNoms and GFB and Kinnie. Just the better ingredients you can put in your little one's body, the better, even if it is something that comes out of a wrapper. If you can get your kids to eat what you cook, amazing. We have one friend where we're talking, and she was half joking, but she was also serious. She's like, look, I just jam it in my kid's mouth. And then they realize, oh, wait, I like this. And then they want more. But that first bite is it's such a struggle to get them to take that first bite, even though it's like, hey, I know you're going to like this. just try it. And they're like, no. And then she's like, I just put it in his mouth. And then he's like, I want more. It's like, okay, well, I guess I need to, maybe that's something I gotta try. But yeah, no, that's the gist. Just the better the ingredients, the better you'll benefit from them.
Love it.
Jared, you and the people watching can actually pull a win out of the pasta thing though, because that's like one of the most sugar-filled, products on the shelf when you're trying to just make like a home dinner. Get some tomatoes, get some garlic,
Yep,
a little bit of your own seasoning.
Love it.
yeah. A good pasta sauce is great. I have I'm half Italian, so I have an old family recipe that I'll whip out every now and then, but it's fun. But yeah, no, pasta's great. And yeah, watch the sugar on the pasta sauces because they can have a lot.
Yep. All right, fellas. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate your time. Augie appreciates your time, and also to those that attended. And I'm sure we'll watch this in the future. This was really valuable. I'm a little behind you guys in the age of my son. He's 11 months, like I said, but he is really starting to eat a lot more. So this was pretty timely for me. So I appreciate the time, guys, and I'm sure we will connect again soon. So thanks to all of you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
Adam.
you. Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye, Jared. Bye, Marshall.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.